So I say keep it simple. Now that's, again, you can file that under easier said than done. Making something simple takes a lot of work, right? Especially something you have a lot of complexity like a cybersecurity program. So if you put the work in, though, over time, it will become simple. I advocate choosing your controls wisely. There are control catalogs out there that you can use, right? And the NIST one, the 800-53, has over 1,000 controls in it. Most companies that I work with have about 50 to 100 controls that they're operating on a regular basis. But you should never do security for security's sake, and you should bring that into your control selection. Choose wisely. Choose controls that are going to work with you, not going to complicate you too much. Cybersecurity is two diametrically opposed things. There's convenience, and then there's secure, right? And if you make something totally secure, it's almost unusable. But if you make something super convenient, oftentimes you sacrifice the security of it. So you have to choose the controls to match the security objective, yet not impact operations all that much, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. These controls are already out there. The processes are out there. There have been many companies that have gone before you. There's been companies such as defense contractors and agencies, right, within governments. They've taken on this role many years ago, and it's all published. It's all out there, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to take the time to identify what you want to do. Use controls from existing catalogs. There are a bunch of them. I just mentioned NIST 800-53. That one's freely available. You can use the ISO ones. ISO comes with a catalog of controls. NIST Cybersecurity Framework comes with controls. You know, you don't have to invent them unless it really is something that's bespoke to your company. And once you adopted these controls, or you have a list of these controls, then you can contrast what you're doing with what you should be doing, right? Or what a standard says you should be doing, and then you can work to fill those gaps as necessary. So here's a little page out of the NIST 800-53. Anyone using this here? Anyone using NIST 800-53 for control? This is published by the NIST. The NIST, if you're not familiar, is the National Institute of Standards and Technology for the United States. Now, this is developed with our taxpayer money, so it's available for free. So it's meant to guide everyone from a defense contractor or a national agency, right on to a mom-and-pop business, right, who just need to understand how you get your hands around how you get your arms around cybersecurity control. So, just very briefly, and we don't want to get too technical, we want to go down a rabbit hole on this stuff, but you know, with this document in your hand, you'll see there's controls, they're numbered, they're arranged by function, the control name, and then here, this is the criticality of the asset. So if you're trying to protect something that's you know, just low criticality, it's not very important to you, the controls are going to be different than the controls that are recommended at the high. And these are just the initial baselines. And this document goes even further because it helps you it helps you set the order that you implement these controls. So if you have a low criticality asset, first thing you want to do is make sure every P1 is covered, right? That's step one, priority one. And then it gives you priority 2. Then it gives you priority 3. And it does this for each level of system within your organization. It tells you where you should be, what you should be doing, right? And again, your mileage may vary, but it's great to have a standard to say, wow, yeah, okay, well, this is what we should be doing here. And this is generally accepted around the world, and you'll find that other standards don't deviate from this much, right? You'll find most of the standards out there overlap really a lot, right? In fact, if you get technical about it, they all go back to a British standard called BS 7799, which predated the ISO and most of these efforts. Again, freely available. I'd highly recommend you look at it. And again, this is a service we can provide for you, help you figure out where you are in this. NIST provides another piece of really interesting tool, and that is the cybersecurity framework, right? So this takes all those controls, right, and it allows you to manage them within a framework. So what we do when we work with most of our companies are moving to this, or we're moving them to this for cybersecurity governance. Once again, freely available from the NIST. It breaks down the function of cybersecurity into 5 areas: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover, right? So in each one of these functional areas, it breaks down a category, subcategory with objective, and then we map the customer's controls. We map them all into the framework. This framework goes out for a mile and down for a mile, right? The document, you know, working these, we need 2 screens, right, to do this. But this gives you an idea of how we manage this for our customers. This goes, by the way, as you go to the right, we also assess the maturity, right, of the control systems, identify gaps, and then there's 3 to 5 years of planning on the other side that says, you know, we're going to get to this gap on this year. This gap's going to cost this much, right? So this is the type of thing I say when I walk in the door. If I see someone managing their cybersecurity program with a framework, right, I know, you know, this company is mature. This company is likely to reap the benefits. We also gauge the control processes by maturity level. This is a terrible slide because it's got way too much information on it. Just look over here to the left. This is the important part. Again, this capability maturity model is freely available. You can Google it. You can find it on Wikipedia, right? Maturity level 1 is initial. That means you're just getting started. You're likely to be reactive. And then it progresses upwards to level 5 where you're optimizing. In other words, you are so well managed that you're no longer looking to bridge gaps. You're no longer looking to fix the problem. You're looking to make the solution more refined, right? You're looking to save time and money and make it more efficient. And most companies will have their processes all over the map here, right? So if it's a new control, it might be initial. If it's something they've been doing for 15 years, it might be fairly well optimized. This, again, is another process that is free for you to use. So, what gets measured gets managed. I tried, you know, I've been using that statement for a long time, and I really tried to find out who said it. It's been attributed to Peter Drucker, and I honestly, you know, just kept going back and back in time. I couldn't find who actually said it, so I wasn't able to give you a quote. So, what gets measured gets managed. And you measure this process with penetration tests, internal audits, and external audits, right? Now, internal audit processes can be self-audit, right? Like, for instance, if you have a control like failed logins, right? You want to make sure that those go on a report, an event, right? An event goes on a report. Someone is responsible for looking at that. That person's manager is responsible for making sure that person's looking at that. And then maybe once a quarter, there's a report issued that says this is happening. And you know, this goes through all these controls, right? External audits, we've all been through that pain. If you have any sort of certification, you're going to need to do those. All right? But there's a trouble with audits, especially checklist audits, because, okay, well, let's say, I mean, maybe your policy is to keep the door locked. So do you keep the door locked? Yes, sir. Check. All right. Is it a deadbolt lock? It says here it has to be a deadbolt lock. Check. It's a deadbolt lock. Okay. Well, all right. You pass. Except, that's a Cheeto. So this is why we need pen testers to come in and push the door a little bit to see if it's really a lock. Or is it a Cheeto? Posing as a lock. So to really know, you got to really test, right? You got to